man. It really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
What's going on, everybody? This is Dan French, and this is the French Workbench Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. And this is a Tuesday. Want to see everybody out there. Thank you guys so much for showing the support. And let's get right into this here. First off, I want to introduce my guests here today. We have a full studio again, and we have Mr. Rick Rains, ladies and gentlemen. He's back. What's going on, Mr. Rick Rains?
Good evening. Good evening. How is everybody doing?
Good, man. What's going on with you?
Nothing much. Just hanging tight here, ready to have some fun, give out some information.
Yeah, man. No worries. So what's going on with you as far as anything new happening in your world? You were sick the other day, right?
Still am.
You're still
am,
sick.
but I'm here. I'm ready to contribute.
Being sick doesn't mean anything to Rick's generation.
No, not to me.
Right? We also have Mr. Brett Jenny. What's going on with you, Brett?
Went to a listing. That's why I'm all dressed up.
Everything's good, huh?
Everything's fine. TBD. We'll find out. They have to do an auction sale and all that first for next week before we clear it out and then go back. So, not much, man. Just selling real estate, keeping the week afloat.
Keeping the week afloat.
What are you doing, Dan? You're concentrating on something, man.
I am, man. I am. So I'm trying to see make sure all this is connected here. Then
you know what you can't do is chew bubble gum and walk.
Yeah, right. We also have Rich Salas. What's going on, Rich?
Hey, Dan. How you doing?
Good, buddy. What's happening with you, man?
Not too much. I would like to report that I am like one seam away from being done with all the repairs from the flood, which I know I've mentioned on here several times. So I'm very happy about that.
How long you been at that for?
It's been since October 15th. So it's been one room or the other that's been torn up.
So good times.
Yeah.
Good
so
times,
it's
right?
like we're almost there. So that's my extreme excitement for the week.
Wow.
And I'm thinking of buying myself Journey tickets as a Christmas present for myself.
Don't stop believing in that one.
Yeah.
Don't stop.
I had this thing about like really great old bands that like if you get the chance, go see them before someone dies, and you can't.
Just don't be a lonely girl in a lonely world.
No, I know. No. Yeah.
Right. Okay. We also have Esmeralda Lucia. What's going on, Esmeralda? How are you?
Good. How's everybody? Glad to be back.
Yeah, man.
I miss you guys.
Yeah. What have you been up to?
A lot of stuff. A lot of
Saving
holiday,
money.
Yeah,
a lot
saving
of
money.
holiday events.
How was your Thanksgiving?
It was nice. It was really nice. Family, lots of family, lots of food, lots of carbs.
When you say lots of family,
Did you say lots of carbs?
What number are we talking?
I don't know, like 50 maybe.
Wow.
Is that a lot? That's a lot, right?
No, not to you.
Anything happening in your life, Esmeralda? Do you got anything new to talk about?
Yeah, I almost died last week. No, I'm just playing.
What? What ended up
I had
happening?
an allergic reaction to a
what?
shot. So I had a shot for a flu shot.
And you got allergic reaction? to
Really?
the
Yeah,
flu
I didn't know I
shot?
had
Oh,
one.
that's terrible.
So I had to go back twice, and then I realized I was like, wait, like my face is swelling in my hands. So I had an allergic reaction to a flu shot.
Just
so,
the regular flu shot.
Yeah, I don't know, whatever they gave me, and I've never had any allergic reaction, so I didn't really know what was happening to me. And so yeah, it was quite an episode.
That's terrible.
Don't recommend it. Sorry, everybody, I just don't.
Yeah, you don't recommend it. So let's go right into this whole thing here. We're talking with, let's talk about housing, right? Talk about what's going to happen here in Las Vegas. We always talk about what changes could occur. And we got Omicron, the bond market, jobs, what all this means for everybody out here getting into a house or potentially getting into a house. Also, second homes, investment properties, right? Why is it such a drop in second homes or investment properties this year? And, I think a lot of it is because rates are going up. People think that, there's not a cash flow, second homes. But as far as Omicron, right, that's the new version or variant that's come out for COVID. What do you guys think the impact is going to be with all this happening right now with this new variant? Do you think this is going to have any impact on the housing market here in Las Vegas? What about you, Rick?
I don't think it's going to have any impact. I think people are getting numb to this whole variant thing that's going on, and they just don't care anymore. They're done with it. They were done with it 9 months ago, even a year ago. They were done with it.
Coronavirus was so 2020.
Yeah, they don't care. They're going on with their lives, and they don't care. Period.
Yeah,
that's my take.
Well, I think that you got to look at a lot of these people, and you see a lot of stuff that's going on with not just the Omicron, but you also look at people that are looking into buying into a home with they have interest rates are going up, right? So we know that rates are going up. It's impacting people's decision making. What's the psychological effect it's having on people right now buying homes? Because I think people think, well, rates are going to go up. I feel like with the Omicron and everything that's going on, it's had no impact, or maybe very little impact on people buying homes in this market. Because I think people still want to go in and buy, and they're still buying. Really, I mean, we had 4,500 homes on the market, Brett, and now we were down to
3,100. So that's the thing, is it's not so much that you have still an overwhelmingness of buyers, although there are. It's you have no inventory. Yeah. So a month and a half ago, there were 4,300?
Yeah.
Right.
And we just did it before you got here, and there were 3,100.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not motivated to sell.
Well, I mean, so we've been talking about how a lot of people who have lived here forever and have regular jobs are getting priced out of the market here.
Yeah.
Well, if you've bought your home in the past 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, you are priced out of the market, as in you can't buy another home of what you have for the same price. Not even close.
Right.
So why would you move? Why would you put your house on the market? What are you going to do? Unless you're moving out of the city, why would you put your house on the market? You can't afford to go anywhere else.
Right.
Even in your own city.
Well, look, so you got jobs are starting to come back. We have, there was a big, huge problem with people not going back to work. You're starting to see that jobs are coming back. The unemployment numbers are dropping. So you look at Omicron, that's not really having an impact. I think people's psychological thought too is that how many times have we gone through a different strand or
That's
variant,
what I'm saying. People are just, they're used to it. It doesn't.
Well, yeah, and plus people realize that there's always going to be another strand because that's just what it is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's another strand, but I think there's I don't know if it's fear. You want to call it fear, right? I mean,
it is fear.
It is, because if you're
unknown.
afraid of something like this, then are you going to still pursue buying things like investments and properties and other things and buying and spending money? I think a lot of people may have an issue with, I wouldn't say an issue, but they're just numb to the situation. And I think when you look
they're used to it.
Yeah. You look at the situation. So we talk about Omicron. We're going to talk about the jobs, the unemployment numbers, and then also the bond market, which has an inverse impact on mortgage rates. Bonds going lower, rates ultimately go higher. We're seeing an uptick in rates, has not had any impact on buyers out there as far as buying homes. I'm talking to people right now that are buying still second homes and investment properties, even though we see a lot of numbers out there saying that they're not buying them. And even with the higher rate, they're just buying the rate down in some cases.
What's a higher rate for them with, say, 25% down?
I mean, it depends what the market's doing, right? If you're buying a property that's an investment property, you're going to have a higher rate.
But of course, but I'm saying, obviously it depends on debt to income ratio. It depends on, a few, credit score, a few other things. But on average, what's the interest rate on something?
Well, I think you look at
25% down second mortgage.
You look at rates of probably being home. Anywhere from the 3.25%, low threes to mid for a primary residence. You're going to go a lot higher secondary home or investment property.
What's a lot higher?
Yeah, that's what we're asking you specifically.
I would say
you're like a politician.
3.5% to 4% would be a lot higher. Would you agree?
Oh, wait, 3% more above what the current rate is?
No, 4% interest rate.
Interest rate.
Oh, that's not bad.
Versus 3? No, that's not really that much higher.
Yeah. So you look at it and you go, okay, rates are going up. Who cares, right? Because people still want the investment. They want the property. Now,
yeah.
It's like this. You have cheap money, and that really drove the market back, let's say 2020, right? During the pandemic. Well, cheap money is still here. It's just not as cheap as it was, but yet it's the scarcity of homes of why people are buying. So even with the Omicron coming out, even with you got the bond market and rates going up, jobs are getting better, the economic news is overall good. It's not really deterring people from buying homes altogether.
It's gone up, but it's still cheap money.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a far difference between 4% and 10%. That's expensive money, 10%.
Yeah, I mean, well, when is the last time you seen 10%? Rick, you were around when you saw 10%.
Carter.
Right?
Jimmy
Long
Carter.
time ago.
Right. Peanut guy.
So one of the things I want to talk about is what do you think is going to happen with this market? Are people going to still buy second homes, investment properties, even though rates are going up and the cash flow is not there, the return on investment? A lot of out-of-state buyers are looking to buy homes out of state coming here from, let's say, California. We talk about it all the time. Is that going to be slowing down going into 2022?
I think that the only way it's going to slow down is that is that if people don't put the inventory out there, but otherwise it's going to keep going. And I also think that people are looking at what's happening in the country in general, and I believe there's a strong, I don't want to say push, but there's been a move from one party to another, and I think that everybody is anticipating a change here coming up very quickly. And because of that, the fear factor is a lot lower. And because the fear factor is not there, they're willing to invest.
What do you guys think a high rate would be to push you out of a market right now? Because I think a lot of people
for a second home
for any situation. Like, I mean, does 4% sound crazy high?
I mean, I think the first home that I bought in 2003 or 4, my interest rate was like 6.5%.
Right, Dan, you're a mortgage guy. I mean,
6.5%. That didn't deter me
2 years ago.
I just wanted a house.
Yeah, the first place we got, I believe, was at 8%.
Okay,
And that was for a first.
so it had no impact on you whatsoever as far as rate. It seems like
It is what it is.
Yeah,
right.
And if you want a house and you want an investment, you got to pay
and
the
you're
freight.
newly married and you want a house.
Here's the other thing.
Get
If
a
the
house,
rates
dude.
turn around and go down, you refinance and get the lower rate. And if it goes up, you count your blessings.
Well, but what happens if rates continue to go up and you can't refinance? That's the question. So I get a lot of people that
No, if
ask
the
me,
rates go
So
up,
you
you don't
stay in your mortgage
refinance, you
payment,
stay in your
right?
mortgage payment.
right?
So you win either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't ever get worse for you. It can get better
Yeah.
if you refi, but it can't get worse.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
not necessarily. It gets better if you refi because then you start over.
Well,
what do you mean you start?
no,
over?
you don't.
Well, if you get
That's only if you
get
take out a home
30-year
equity.
Your new loan.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
if
no,
you
no.
refi, you're just refi.
She's right in a situation of like this. If you refinance and that interest starts over, because all that's front loaded. So she is correct
Yeah,
on that.
okay,
She is
well,
correct on that sense. But I mean, your loan starts over, yes, but the interest part of it. So, but for me, I look at it and I go, well, rates are high, right? They're getting higher. They're going up. And that shock, right? The payment shock or the shock that rates are going up, always pulls people back. But overall, the confidence comes back. People are still willing to buy. They're not scared as much as they may have been maybe in 2020.
And I mean, here's the thing. Rates don't jump from 3% to 9% overnight or 6% overnight. Like it happens gradually and things that people kind of know are coming.
But
So it's not just a
remember-
drastic.
But rates are always go up around this time of the year, and there's always a low interest in this time of the year because it's like the holidays.
Yeah.
Like I have several clients of mine that I had even personal calls like on 10 numbers and they want to wait until the new year.
Yeah.
So it's not that they're not interested. It's just that right now we're in a season of Christmas and other
Yeah.
things.
Well, I know, but there's still people out there looking. I got
Yeah.
people that call me right now. They're buying 1.5, $2 million homes, and they're just like, you know what, I'm out making offers because right now is a really good time to maybe get an offer accepted. So I don't know. I mean, a lot of people think that when they're buying homes out here in Vegas that they got to get it now because scarcity. We talked about we're down 25% overall, really, of what we saw
For inventory.
Yeah, for inventory a month. So the demand is still
Think
there.
about that. Within 30 days.
Well, there's probably more opportunity, more inventory right now because there's probably not as many people looking.
No,
it's
there's
dropped.
not. We just ran it before you got here.
It's dropped.
It's 3,100 from 4,500, 4,600.
Oh wow, that's a
I mean,
that's a huge difference.
yeah, it's like 0.7 of a month.
Wow, that's crazy.
I've never seen that in 16 years. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah, and so what do you think the impact is going to be for, let's say, when you look at the situation going into 2022? Now, are we going to see less buyers in the market, or you think we're going to see more going into 2022? Is it going to stay consistent? Are people going to get discouraged if rates continue to keep going up? What do you think, Rick?
I don't think people are going to get discouraged. There may be a slight pullback, but overall, it'll just keep going.
Okay, so with this whole interest rate increase, and you think it's going to keep going, I mean, do you think that it's going to keep going beyond 4%, 4.5%? Like, what, from your history of being in a market or different markets, what do you see with this market that maybe has some similarities?
There's too many variables for me to be really to talk about that. The one thing I want to bring up, which always happens in every market, is what I call the boiling frog. So you take a frog, you put him in a pan of water, you turn the heat on, and it starts to boil. The frog never realizes what's going on.
Right.
And eventually boils to death. Okay, doesn't try to get out. Well, it's the same thing with interest rates. As long as interest rates creep up and keep going like that, people get accustomed to them, and they don't realize what sort of market that they're in or what they had been in, and it's just the way it is.
That's what I'm saying. It just doesn't go from 3 to 7 overnight.
Yeah.
It happens gradually. People know what's coming.
So, Rich, what do you think about this market? Is 4% for a rate too high for you?
So, I mean, you're a mortgage guy. When was, like 2 years ago, what was the...
Well, you think about it, and people are like, well, 2.5%.
I'm going to throw it right back at you.
I was trying to make a point, which is
Dan,
just
what
that,
do you think?
No, I'm trying to make a point, which is just that if...
You agree?
I agree.
We agree.
What were you saying, Rich?
Oh, I was going to ask you
Sorry.
what 2 years ago, what the going rate was, because it was probably about 4%, right? 2 years ago?
Yeah, so you looked at a healthy market in 2018. We've talked about this, that it actually hit 5%, right? And we felt that market was one of the more healthier markets.
Well, hold on.
I don't think that people are going to freak out about 4%.
It hit 5% and the world didn't end?
No, it did not.
Oh,
and the thing is, that people are accustomed to something, though, that's it's been around, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if it went to 5% overnight, people would freak.
right. I mean, so
it's not high, but they would.
So you think, my question, I guess, to you guys out there is that, for you, is do you think that if we go beyond 4%, that's just too high of a rate for people out there to buy into a home?
No, I think that's ridiculous because we've had rates way over 4% for an extremely long time.
And I think
only recently did we drop down.
I think mine was
low.
at 6 when I had properties.
See, that's what I'm saying.
In 2004 or
that's what mine was 6.5 in 2004.
I had 6, and I had great credit. And that was a great interest
from
rate.
my perspective, you have all these young people here that have already been with higher interest rates. And the point being that I'm going to make is that young people come in, whether they be 18, 19, or 20, they have friends that are slightly older, okay? And they're going to say, hey, the rates aren't that bad. I got my first place at... like if they talk to me, I got my first place at 8%. What are you crying about at 4 or 5?
So
trophy for that?
We really feel that going into 22. So we're really trying to do like this whole what's going to happen next year, right? What do we see? Not just with just how people's psychological thought process is going to be next year buying into homes, and also just coming into Las Vegas overall. You guys don't feel like this is going to deter people at all?
I think we're full steam ahead for next year.
I know, but
full steam ahead.
You don't think that? Look, you deal with buyers, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying
so
that.
So your buyers that you're dealing with, they don't bring up the idea that, hey, you know what? Why are rates going up, and should I buy or shouldn't I buy?
None of them mention anything about rates going up
at all.
At all.
That's just crazy, right? Because you think that
Dude, they just want a house right now. Do you understand?
And that's superseding anything else.
Yes,
that's superseding.
They just want a house right now.
Yeah,
right.
Because there's so little there's so little. That's another thing. FOMO. Fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Hey, if there's so little and something comes up that I can afford and buy, I'm going for it.
Right.
Because otherwise I might miss out.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? Why do you guys think that this market pushed itself into the number one thing is just to get a house, right? What are the things that pushed everybody to say, I want to buy a house and I got to get in the game? Like, what are the contributing factors? Because people think, well, you look at the Omicron, right? You look at the COVID, you look at rates, you look at the unemployment, you look at just uncertainty in the economy, uncertainty in what you're doing. But yet people are still willing to say, you know what? I'm going to overlook all of these things and still go buy a house. Why is that?
Because none of those other things are really impacting anyone's life.
I've seen a lot of people they've impacted. I mean, I don't know who you talk to, but I've had people laid off and you know what I mean?
Okay, but we're talking about people looking to buy a house.
Yeah, but that's a big deal, Brett.
No kidding.
Right. So why are people, their mindset is saying psychologically, I'm just going to oversee all of those things and those concerns and still buy a house?
Okay, so let's go back to that mindset, right?
Go ahead.
So my question to them is this: what's your alternative?
Okay,
Rent.
And you're
going to rent. That's even harder and pay even higher for rent.
It's not about what's your alternative. It's more about
it is.
Does it make sense for me to go 2 feet in and buy a house, even a secondary home, in this type of uncertainty of a world?
I don't think people are looking at it as a doomsday scenario.
Okay, so that's it. You asked why do they have this mindset? Okay? And the answer is very simple. These people do not have a defeatist mindset. They have an abundance and growth mindset, and they're going ahead and they're making the move. The people that have the defeatist mindset, which is the minority, they're not.
Let me ask you this question, Esmeralda. You just bought a house. Why did you buy a house right now? I'm just curious. What pushed you into the market? You didn't have any uncertainty about buying a home right now?
I did, but what happened was I had to turn in my rental. And I've been looking for a house since last year, and I was priced out by cash buyers last year. Every time I lost every house, and I had hookups and friends, and so when I went to try to find another rental, which I couldn't get one, I lost to every.
Yeah, but there's got to be something that gave you confidence that this is like, if it's me and I'm going through something like we've never seen before. I really feel this roller coaster of life.
The reason I bought now was, one, I liked the house that I bought. Two, I was able to get in it, and I thought, for me, I knew that I'm going to keep this house. Even if I decide to move out, I will always have it as a rental, and I would never lose because I would always make my money on that house. So that's how I look at it. I looked at it as a longevity to keep the property that I bought today.
So why is it that you didn't give up? In other words, why didn't you flip and go the other way? Why didn't you say, "Oh, man, I can't do anything"?
Because I don't want to throw my money away to rental. I did it already for 2 years.
Yeah, but even though you know that this is going on, you still felt like you're going to be able to pay your bills. See, I think the thing is people always worry, well, what if I don't make my money?
I don't think anyone's worried about that,
No, but they did. And that's what I'm saying. And not only that,
Who did?
A lot of people. Inflation's going up, right?
So here's the thing.
Rates are going up.
We are on a lot of uncertain things, but I definitely think this country has definitely been in a lot worse situations, especially economically, than this.
Well, I think that it doesn't matter.
So, and I mean, I don't think this is anything compared to what we've been through.
I mean, I understand where they're coming from, but this is how I look at it. I got to live somewhere.
Yeah, right.
And I'm going to have to pay rent somewhere, or I'm going to have to pay a mortgage. So I rather own what I have.
Yeah, but don't you think getting into a house is a longer commitment? It's like a marriage, right? It's like you're getting into a situation that... So look, I'm just saying that people's mindset...
I just live in abundance. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I do. I live in that mindset. I think of... If something happens today, then I'm going to hustle and find something else that will help me pay my bills. I'm not going to just stay underground and be like, oh, I'm just defeated.
It sounds to me, like a defeatist attitude, like you're letting life run you.
And I got to live today because, you know what? My dad died. He didn't take nothing. And I'm not living to see if something happens someday. I'm making something happen today.
Rich, would you buy in this market, Rich?
If I had the money for a down payment, or if I qualified for a loan at the time and I thought that it was worth the money, I would buy it. I'm not worried about interest rates. I'm not worried about the price going down.
Not worried about losing your job. Not worried about a lot of things.
No, I'm not worried about losing my job because I'm self-employed.
Well, there you go. But you know,
I think a lot of people. You have to remember too that you have to see that every homeowner in America who bought their house 3 years ago has made $100,000, $200,000 in equity.
Yep.
These people are sitting on a pile of cash. They have unrealized capital gains. A lot of people are probably actually feeling pretty good,
and in their mind, it's just getting started.
Yeah, and
their worth is just getting started.
And they can look at it like, if I sell my home, or I can take a loan out and I can go buy a second home. I mean, a lot of people I think are in that mindset. And on top of that, like I was trying to make a point earlier, was that 4% would have been like, oh, that's great a few years ago.
Yeah.
People would have been like, yeah, that's great. I remember when I bought my house in the 70s and I had a 15% home loan.
My mom paid, and my dad was 18.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I think that there are actually a lot of people in this country who've done very well, actually. And then you have to remember, like we were talking about in past shows, a lot of these people, especially who have second homes, they have stock market investments. They have IRAs, and they've all watched their stock market accounts and their IRAs go sky high while we were going through this whole COVID thing. The market went from 24,000 to 18,000 to 35,000. There are people in this country with tons of money. I think that the mindset right now is get in while you can, because those prices aren't going down yet. I can keep jacking up rent in Las Vegas. There's a lot of good reasons for people to get into the market right now.
Well, look, I'm not saying that people shouldn't buy. I'm just saying you got to look at both the pros and cons. And I feel that people, a lot of these buyers are pushed into the market because of shortage of homes, right? It's not because maybe they are, canceling out on their rent, their lease is coming up. But do you really assess and take a step back and say, is this really the financial thing I should be doing, buying into a home? Now, I understand it's your vehicle, a lot of people's vehicle to make some equity, make some money. But again, if you have all of these other factors, we've talked about them, inflation, rising rates, you talk about uncertainty.
So I would say I'm going to end up paying a lot more in rent for the same home that I would in a mortgage. So speaking of making financial wise decisions,
I have investments that pay for mine.
I'm just saying,
but,
you're paying more for rent.
I think that the reason that people invest in homes as opposed to stocks or cryptocurrency or anything else is because they're killing two birds with one stone. It's very simple. They got a place to live and they're making an investment.
Well,
but if you
absolutely
buy
right
stocks,
about that.
You can't do that. I mean, you're killing two birds with one stone.
So it sounds to me like the audience that I'm here in this studio here is saying that we should all buy and there's no risk and there's nothing to think about.
I wouldn't say there's no risk. Yeah. There's always risk in something. It's just where you're at financially in your life, right? Yeah. Not everybody's in the same place. So that's something that you have to make a decision based on where you're at. And it could be obviously some people that you have family. I mean, and those things might be crucial.
Yeah.
And it's a different decision for that. But
I'm just saying this. I think there's other factors, and I know we kind of talked a little bit about these factors of why people are buying, but what is the frenzy about? And I feel like it's obviously shortage of homes, and we talked about it in the scarcity. So what is the contributing factor though? And we really didn't talk too much about it other than the fact that it's better to buy than pay rent. That's kind of what I'm getting from this. Is it better to look at the whole picture and say, well, why would I want to buy a house in a market where there's a lot of things considering factors, probably more so ever, it's everything's superseded by all these other things we talked about with the higher costs.
But see, that's where I disagree. I think we've definitely been in a lot worse economic situations.
Tell me when though.
How about
Great Depression?
Yeah, I know that's one time though.
But how about all of the people?
2009, 2008, 2009.
You think
no, it's true, but we're not there. We're not.
I think those are two examples of far worse economic situations in right now.
Well, yeah, we never even really went into a recession really with this whole thing, or some of the market did, and the rest of the market.
Yet,
some of us did, some of us
what
didn't.
goes up must come down. I mean, it's just part of.
But why it's going up makes sense
before.
Because there's no supply.
So, but what about all the people too? Because remember, this was a big story in the news about everyone going, "Oh, I can now work from home," which means I don't have to live in Manhattan. I can go buy a big house in New Jersey, or I don't have to work in Eastern California anymore. I can move to Las Vegas.
I can move to Pahrump.
Lot of I think that did bring quite a bit. I mean, at least it looked like it if you read any of the newspapers they publish every day in the country about everyone deciding I can move out of the city to this big house in the suburbs. So I mean that must have spurred some of the buying.
But here's another realistic discussion that you would have with your spouse or with your friends. Someone who comes up and says to you, maybe a little bit hesitant on buying right now. Yeah. You go, aren't you afraid of buying? It's like, hell no, everybody's wanting to buy right now. If things turn sour, I'll just sell it because there's so much demand. So that's the other thing.
Yeah, but that's also got to be having confidence, though, that the economy is going to continue going the direction it's going.
I'm just saying that if it isn't, they feel that they can get out of it quickly simply by what's been happening over the last year.
So where did that confidence come from? That's the question. Is it propped up because of what we see in the news?
It came from looking at the statistics and seeing homes go up 28%.
Yeah, and listening to their friends.
Here, let me give you guys an example. So I received a few phone calls from investors from California. And what the search was for them, they wanted properties that either A, they had land, or they had 3-car garage or areas in the home that they can add, like another bedroom, or so they can have multiple families. So what I'm seeing is in California, there's properties that there's multiple families. Some live in the garage, some live in half of the home, and they're renting these properties. And now they're trying to do that here in Las Vegas. Yeah. So that lets me know that if that's where the vision is for these investors, because that's what they wanted me to research for them as far as farms
find
goes.
Places with casitas,
right?
And whatever.
Where they can turn one home into.
But it's like what we said a few months ago. That's what people are starting to do now. It's like things are going to be becoming too expensive. They're just going to gang up and go together in on something together
I
as
mean,
one.
it's not the ideal thing, but
that's what they're starting to do. They're starting to adapt. People are, adapting to what they need to.
It's not the ideal thing now, but it very well could be the ideal thing in the future.
Good point. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about a little bit about what rates are doing. And a lot of people right now that are looking at this video, they're looking at things online, tons of equity, right? Most amount of equity in history that people have in their homes. And they're taking that money, and what are they doing? They're paying off debt. They're pulling money out. They're putting that pool in. A lot of information out there showing that people are using and utilizing this debt, or not this debt, but the equity to pay off debt and to maybe buy into things, buying maybe a car or that extra car for your kids. So you guys see it all the time. Why are you look at all these people buying in to getting a cash out refi, because that's really where refis are at today. Even though rates are high, they still want that money. I feel cash is king, right? And I'm not trying to be biased because I'm a lender too. It's just when you got an opportunity to cash out, because you can't get that money out of a house. Do you not agree?
And you mean just keep it in the bank and just
people want to say, well, I'm going to keep building equity in a home, but you can't use that money to diversify that money, right?
You're predicating the question on high rates, and we've already discussed that the rates aren't high.
Well, but they're high to people. Look at what were rates last year? 2.5%. That's high to people. That's 1.5 points high.
The only people they're high to are people who haven't bought a home before.
Yeah, but I'm just look at
everyone else has seen higher rates.
What's the rate today?
I mean,
well, it depends, but I mean, even if it's let's say if it's 4%, right, and you're cash out refinancing your house, that's still a low rate, but some people are a little sensitive about it because they were looking at rates at 2.5%.
Okay, but you're going to get a 4% rate to pay off 18% credit card, $30,000-$40,000 worth of credit card. In my lifetime, I've done that twice. Because as I got married and was having a family, we couldn't make ends meet. So it all went on the credit card. But I was smart enough to have bought different investment properties. And then when I needed to, I cashed out a property and paid off or took a second and paid off the high interest rate. You
mean on the second?
Yeah, on the second. That's what you do.
So let's talk. Okay, so you guys think that cash out refis are going to be something we're going to foresee in the future. I think it's going to be continuous. There's not too much opportunity for rate and term, but the amount of money that we're seeing through this, I mean, there's so many people taking advantage of this, all because of how quick these appreciation or the home appreciations happen. So I can't see it stopping. Now, if you guys had equity in your home, would you cash out or would you keep the equity? That's the question.
Only if I could get a lower interest rate than the interest rate I already had. If I had a few years ago, if you had you'd gotten a subprime loan, say 10 years ago or something, and you had a 5.25% interest rate in your home. Not great, but I've seen worse. And then if you want to go refinance and you think, well, I've got $250,000 in equity, I think I'm going to pull out $100,000 in cash, but I wouldn't necessarily do it if I was going to go up an interest rate. Because you're looking at, you got to remember your monthly payment too. And for a lot of people, that's really important.
I would say depending on your situation.
Yeah,
exactly.
If you don't need to, don't.
And you wouldn't want to take out money
if you're just going to help in another situation. Do it.
Well, look, if you have a 10% interest rate on a credit card, or let's say you got a car,
10% would be great.
Yeah, I love that.
No, that'd
be great.
But I'm giving you an example, right? Let's say you're somebody out there that has some subpar credit, or you have some
25%.
Right.
That's your.
Why would you not at least consider taking a refinance and paying off that higher interest?
You would.
You should.
Right.
I would.
So
but
not everyone has credit card debt like that.
But if you have to dip into the money you just took out to start paying,
I have zero credit card debt
because your payment went up. I don't think a lot of people would do that necessarily.
Americans love to spend money. Would you not agree?
I have zero credit card debt.
Same.
And they love to use their credit cards for their points.
Literally.
I don't have credit card.
I don't even have a credit card.
I use it to build credit. I
have a credit card for emergency, but.
Yeah.
Well, I have a credit card that I put everything on and pay it off at the end of the month, so I get
same here.
Me too.
I go for the points.
Yeah.
So I use it for everything.
I do it for my points.
Yeah.
I just started doing that last year.
Oh, that's the best thing.
Yeah. So again, I think it's a case by case. But why are that you look across the board, and this is something I wanted to bring up, that if you guys have not cashed out, refinance your house, at least look at the opportunity. Why? Because there could be an option. Mm-hmm. I feel cash is king. If I built $100,000,
I agree with you, Dan.
If I took $100,000 I have equity in my house, what if you cashed that money out and diversified it? What if you bought another investment property? What if you bought cryptocurrency?
You could
what if you did something with it instead of sitting in
cash
in
it out and go to Caesars and you can double your money.
Oh, that's a great idea.
It only takes 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Stand by for more financial advice.
Do you know how many times?
There you go.
You know what's so funny is you know how many times?
That could work.
Here's buy some property at the Salton Sea.
But again, I think I'm not trying to be biased, but I feel that the equity position that people have is an opportunity. If you consider it an opportunity, I would definitely pull it out, especially with low rates. Still, we still have low rates. Why would you not look at that?
I think that it depends on who you are and where you're at. So as an example, if I was one of these younger people around the table, I would definitely consider that. But
Rick, how old are you? You're young.
Yeah, right. But no, really, I spent a long time to get all
You're
of
young,
my
Rick.
to get all of my real
Young
estate
at heart, Rick.
all of my real estate paid off.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no reason for me at this point in time to turn around and risk at all when from a retirement standpoint, no, I'm going to sit tight.
Yeah.
But if I'm in the spot of building, heck yeah, you want to leverage OPM, man, other people's money.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've watched a lot of different scenarios, and to me, it just makes sense that if you got an opportunity, what happens if the market starts to go the other direction? Which we know, Brett. I know you think it's not. You think you're all in.
I didn't say it.
But people still think that, you know what?
I never said that.
Well, what do you like? Okay, for me, if I had an opportunity to cash out, I would do it, and that's all I'm saying, because I can take the money, do something with the money, and not just have it sit in my house.
So if you're worried about the economy and coming from the mindset of people like that, why would you take out more debt?
Yeah. So
That's a good point.
So here's the thing: if you were to
That makes no sense.
No,
Like your bills are just gonna go back up.
Yeah, if you were to do that,
Permission to approach the bench, Your Honor.
the economy tanks, now you're tanking on two.
Yeah, but you know what? Listen, again, it's a
Two
case by
spots.
case. But you know what? If I took money out and I was going to invest it into a business or invest it into a property that's going to cash flow, then yes, you're taking money and taking that money and maybe potentially getting a return on investment, more of a long term. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm talking about why just have it sit there and do nothing with it is all I'm saying.
Buy
Would you not
Bitcoin.
agree?
Well, the thing I think that also, even though you have equity in your property, it doesn't really do nothing unless you sell it.
It doesn't. You know what?
I mean,
do you-
Unrealized gain.
so if you sit there and you're like, oh yeah, my house is worth whatever amount,
Yeah.
but if you're not moving, you're not really utilizing.
Sleeping
the
money is
benefits.
dead money.
Well, look, this is an artificial market that was propped up for the most part. People's supply and demand, and we don't have enough homes, so that's why the prices.
So
have
I
driven
guess
up.
supply and demand, basic economics 101 is propped up.
I feel like it is because
Well, life as
let me
we know
explain.
is an illusion, I guess.
If
you wanna
we
get
had
really
more
deep.
properties to choose from, we don't. That's why we see the markets that we see, right? And that's why we see.
Yeah, I
the
mean, that's
equity
what I'm
we
saying
see.
is all this makes sense. It's real simple. There's no homes on the market.
Right. So
Man,
I feel that that's pushing people to buy, and that's my argument. It's pushing people to buy maybe when they're not really ready to buy 100%.
I think we
Or
have.
homes that
I
they
mean,
don't
yeah,
necessarily
we
want
have a city where
100%.
people are moving to and want to move to and are going to continue to move to. And we have nobody putting their home on the market because if you've lived here for the past 3, 4, 5 years or before, you can't afford to buy anything.
well, we were just talking
so
on
you're
this
just
show.
sitting tight, dude.
Yeah.
We're talking on this show. We're
we got
like
the clashes
guys,
of those too.
4,500 homes on the
Yeah.
market.
I mean,
that was a month and a half ago.
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah, but it's December. I mean, that is not that unusual. People really shy away from doing stuff at the very end of the year.
Well, it's not unusual
That's
for
not
it to
that
slow down
unusual.
some more in December,
Well,
but
it's like 1,000.
No,
but
but
to
like-
have this few homes on the
It's like
market, I've
25.
never
Yeah,
seen in
but
16 years.
But do you remember? I mean, but like, okay, for years we've always had very low inventory. I mean, like when we had the most inventory, maybe in the last 5 years was like maybe 2 months, maybe 2.2
I
months.
remember
No, it
seeing
was
homes
more
like
than that,
8,000
but-
in the market.
No, I mean we really,
in
yeah, man, we
MLS.
have not had a lot of
It was like
inventory.
9,000
We've
to
always
10,000.
historically been way below the 6 months of inventory. So now for us, because it's so tight, we're really feeling the crunch. It wasn't that bad when you still had 2 months of inventory, but with 0.8 months of inventory.
well, I just always say refinance because I want to make some more money.
Well, of course,
Oh,
this is a
okay.
capitalist country. That's
there you go.
Let's refi.
There's the end game. There we go. It all
That's
comes
fine.
full circle now, Dan French.
No, you're not.
Greedy ass
Dad's like,
lenders.
get in debt and call me.
Call now.
It's all just a game you're putting on, huh, Dan?
They're on to me.
On to you, bro.
No, but honestly, it's a case by case, and I think that I'm reading the data, I'm reading the numbers, and that's what people are doing. Regardless of what I say, people are going to do what's their best interest. I'm seeing that they're doing it based upon the numbers and seeing that the equity's there. So we're going to continue to see people refinance. So what would push you? Do you have equity in your house, Rick?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you ever consider? Probably. I don't know. Everybody's in a different stage in life, but would you ever consider cashing out your house?
Oh boy, it'd have to be for a really, really good reason.
Right.
Because from a retirement end of story, got to leave something for the kids, so on and so forth, and so that's me.
What about you? Would you cash out, refinance your house, Brett?
Nope.
Brett,
Not at all. Don't
kids?
need to.
Do you have kids?
Nope.
No? Oh, okay.
I don't wait. No. Milk junkies.
Well, let's. You're right. Brett can't have kids.
No. I don't have any kids. No, but I mean, I wouldn't.
You can't, or you just don't want it?
Don't want any.
A lot of people don't.
I guess I've
I
never
love
fully
kids.
tried.
I want kids, man.
Yeah.
Do you?
I love kids.
You can have them for me.
Right.
Yeah. I got nothing against kids.
I'll take kids.
Just
I'll
don't want
take.
any.
If you don't want your child, I'll take it.
Let's talk a little bit. Let's kind of move off that subject. But I do see. Look at the data. Let's get a little
turn out well.
That was a little awkward, but
Well, edit that segment out. That turned awkward quick.
It came out wrong, but that's not what we're saying.
Thanks,
some of us
Brett.
love kids, some don't.
all right. Anyways, we all love kids. So here's the
Sorry.
deal. I'm looking at this data, and this is where the information's coming from. We're just putting it out. We're getting an opinion on what you guys are doing, also what's going on in Las Vegas. Let's segue to another topic, which is property management. Now, I have a lot of people that also contact me directly and say, Dan, you're a realtor. Do you have somebody that can talk to somebody about property management? I always refer them to you, Rick. And some of the challenges that I hear, they're in a lease and they're not going to be able to get out of their lease, so they can't find a home right away. What do you tell somebody if they're trying to get into a house right, or just put themselves in a position if they're 2 months out on their lease?
So from a tenant standpoint, you have to act as quickly as possible still. And if you give us a call, we'll give you a list of properties. Again, as I've said for the past, 6 weeks, the number of rentals that keeps expanding. So you've got a pretty good shot at it as long as your rental price is over $1,700 a month.
Here's my question is, if you guys think that it's better to buy than it is to rent, I'm not saying that it's not, but why is the rental sector going just at the same pace as the buying sector?
As far as pricing,
yeah.
because
and
they're,
demand.
because they're connected.
Because they can.
Yeah.
So
I mean, because they're connected. As prices go up, fewer people can afford to buy, and so consequently they have to rent, and there's more pressure for renting.
So you're a real estate agent. Do you see more people looking and gravitating to rent or buy from your team or your perspective?
Well, from my perspective, it's always more people are moving to rent, but that's the
that's my point.
That's the area that I'm in. Brett is going to see more people wanting to buy because that's the area that he's in.
Yeah, I don't see renters. I kick them to the curb. I'm just kidding.
No, but you don't get the
keep people
question.
on their toes.
But you don't get the question.
No, I don't
at all.
No,
like, hey,
nope.
should I wait? Because especially if you're coming from out of state, the biggest question is the transition.
I mean, should
I rent before I buy?
I don't get that question. I get people who are desperate to find a place to live to rent. It's not a question of whether or not they should wait.
Yeah, it's just
can I get a place?
Yes, that's
they're
where I
not.
was
Yeah,
at.
it's
I just wanted
exactly
a
what Rick
place.
said. They're not questioning anything other than I need to get a place.
A lot of people's life decisions are not necessarily driven by investment, and they have other reasons they have to do something.
Well, I think it's necessity, but I'm just saying. So going back to your position as far as rentals, I mean, people are not like, what is the competition level as far as renting a home right now, dude? You got a lot of people coming in and say, hey, like, what are the things that people look at to try to get into a property? They probably go to some extent of, necessity or, their urgency, right?
It's urgency over necessity.
Okay.
So they need to find a place. A lot of them are in a situation where their property is being sold. They only have another 2 to 3 weeks, and they got to find a place right now. And the problem with it is, if they look too early, the places are going to be gone. And if they wait too long, the places are going to be gone, and then they're going to be caught between having to get out, a rock and a hard place. So there's a very small window of about 2 to 3 weeks in which they need to make a decision right now and put money down on a place, and most of the property managers in town will hold a place for 2 weeks. Any longer than that, they don't need to.
So it's 2 weeks then. So you got a 2-week window basically to try to get into a house, or at least put money down or put a security deposit down, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what would you tell somebody if they're 3 months out or 6 months out? Like how?
Call me back when you got 2 weeks left.
There's nothing out there for them that says, you know what, like, hey, I'm going to give you a security deposit. We know that these people are going to leave on a lease. You can't do that, huh?
No. Can you do that? Sure. Are owners willing to do that?
So that's the question.
Because the owners are smart enough to know that they don't have to, because they've got 2 or 3 other renters standing there wanting the place, and this guy says that, can you wait 2 months when you got 2 other people saying I'll take it right now?
So you probably talk to a lot of people that you turn away then. I mean, I think a lot of people are looking like, hey, you know what? I want to get into a house right away, but yet it's 2 months out or a month out. Do you just put them on a drip? I mean, does it the same for like buying a house?
We don't have a drip, because those people have already been through, quote, the system, so to speak. They've already talked to 1 or 2 other realtors. They already know what the game is, and they either know that they have to wait or they need to pull the trigger ASAP. It's pretty much.
And as far as Rick, it's your properties or not.
Yeah.
There's no drip. It's like, here's what we have. Call me when you're ready.
Yeah.
See, I think that's why it's such a frenzy though right now too for the rental sectors, because there's not really a lot to choose from, and they're duking it out. They're fighting too to get into these properties.
And again, it depends. Again, when we say this, we're talking about the price range. So I have a couple of condos that are renting for in the 1800s, and they've been sitting there for a couple of weeks. But once you get down anywhere,
really, 1800, they've been sitting for 2 weeks.
Condos. We're not talking
condos.
Houses.
Oh, condos. Wow.
Yeah, I said condos.
Okay, I didn't hear the condos. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My
Off
fault.
D Street. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
So, it depends on the animal and on the property. Depends on the price point. And if you get anything below 1,400, they're still getting snatched up pretty quick.
No, we had the forbearance issue, right? And we also had people that there was they were not getting evicted, right, because of the eviction moratorium. And so you dealt with a lot of these people that are out there.
Still are.
Is that still a problem?
For the owners, it is, yes.
Is it really? So I thought it was passed.
Well,
well, you're involved in the government, so
yes. As I've said on previous shows, as long as the tenant is in the system to get some sort of aid, whether it be federal or state, you can't do anything with them. It's a very, very small percentage. At least in our offices, it's only like.
So it's not a big deal then for you guys.
From my office standpoint, no. From the owners that have the properties, yes.
Okay, so the owners are the ones suffering tremendously.
It's always been the owners that are suffering.
What
always.
About Esmeralda? Do you have rental properties, right? So, like, do you have problems with your tenants paying rent?
No. Oh my God, I've been blessed in that area. They always pay early, or even 2 months ahead, and they've lived.
Those are good tenants.
Yeah. And they've lived
Las Vegas
for a long time in the same home.
Wow,
like 5 years.
Wow.
And,
there you go, man.
And they take care of my house. Like,
don't wake a sleeping baby, right?
Yeah, they fix everything. I mean, I don't know. I just got lucky.
Yeah,
well,
you got really lucky.
I have a new question. Have you raised the rent on them at all?
No, I didn't.
That's why.
Yeah, right.
That's why.
No, that's a big deal. You know
They're
what?
not going. Yeah,
I know people that were in a house every single year.
Let me say something. It
Yeah.
works one of two ways. Either the tenants will never tell you what's wrong because they don't want you to raise the rates. All right, so everything is perfect until they move out, and then you find out there's.
Well, I inspect the properties.
That's one thing, and then the other way is they take care of it all the time, and they make sure that you know about it. Yeah. So those are basically the two scenarios that you get.
Yeah, I mean, I had one, and this was many years ago, where he was there for 5 years, and he never really complained about anything, but when he moved out, oh my God.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, my kitchen cabinets were like held up with scotch tape.
Did you keep the security deposit? Did you get it? You did keep it. They didn't even ask you like, like, hey, can I get it back?
No, they told me. He told me, he was like, hey, my daughter had a party in here and they really trashed the place. I was so mad. I mean, it wasn't like
They
expensive to
duct
fix.
taped the kitchen cabinets.
They did. It was
when was the party? 4 years ago.
No, I inspected.
Doyle rules.
No, I inspected the property because my dad had a carpet cleaning, so I would get the carpet cleaned every 3 to 4 months. So I purposely did that, and I would go in and I paid for the air filters and things like that because that gives me a reason to check it.
Yeah,
that's a good
that's
idea.
why I would. So that's why I would check. I would check the carpet. I would have my dad clean out the flooring, the carpet, make sure it was nice and fresh and whatnot.
So you self-manage? Huh? You self-manage?
I did.
So, Rick, what's the incentive for people not to self-manage?
What's the incentive for people not to self-manage? One is it's against the law if you live over 60 miles away.
Oh, okay. I did not know
I live
that.
close. I live
See,
2 minutes away.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Over 60 miles, that's against the law. Then you can't travel from California and come in and try to.
They don't enforce it. It's one of those things.
Oh, I see.
They don't force it.
So technically,
I
it's
thought they would have
against
police
it's on the
waiting
book.
to-
It's on the book.
Technically, there's a lot of things.
So it's,
But no, that's still good to know. I didn't
I didn't know it either. But.
And you can't have, so some people try and circumvent it by having an answering service. No, you can't have that either. You got to have a live body, whether they're employed, W-2, or it's a property manager. So that's how you can get around, by the way, if you don't want to hire a property manager, hire an employee and pay him W-2 and do all the deductions and all of that. Not a problem.
Yeah. So I don't know. You guys think for your perspective, you look at the rents, they're going to keep going up. Obviously into next year, you're not going to see that stop anytime soon, correct?
Nope.
Okay. Anything else?
Thank goodness.
Yeah, right. Anything else you want to bring up on the rental sector? Because we're about to.
I think we're good.
You're good. Okay, Brett. I want to talk to you about real estate because a lot of people have been saying, a lot of the stuff that's going on. A lot of these realtors out there are fish out of waters, and so fish out of water. So, have you heard anything about being, some of these realtors not really showing houses and maybe just kind of giving false narrative of what they can and can't get into?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I mean, are these people out there that are realtors, right? Are they giving false narrative of saying that they can get into a house and they really can't because they don't have? You got an FHA buyer, right? So can they really get into a house like that, or are they going to have to come above price?
Maybe on D Street.
Well, I mean, if you're an FHA buyer, most of the time they don't have a lot of extra money besides the down payment and the closing costs. So,
by the way, I just brought that up because Brett brought up fish out of water. He knows what I'm talking about.
was what?
I don't know. Just a real estate agent made a comment.
Oh yeah, dude, I completely forgot about that YouTube comment.
Dude, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Dude. So, anyways,
I look like a fish out of water showing you modern homes.
That's why I brought that up. You were supposed to
I'm too country for that.
No, but really, what's going on out there, man? What's happening out there in the world?
Not much. I mean, dude, it's the ever buying battle of trying to get buyers into a contract on something who's not cash. If you got cash buyers, dude, you're set all day long.
You drove. Where did you drive today to go make an offer?
To list a property.
To list a property, yeah.
Good Springs.
He's out listing sand.
Right?
So no, it's got like a historic post office on it and
a bar. Or
How
something.
far is that? How far is that?
It's actually only, I think, 16 miles outside of Vegas. So if you're heading I-15 to LA, it's like 15 minutes. It's your first exit off to the right. They have the White Castle, which I ate at.
Dude, he's like, I got to make I'm traveling here, so I got to really separate my time to get down there. I'm thinking it's like a 2-hour drive, and it's 16 minutes.
No, well, I mean, I came from.
I'm like, wait a second. What are you planning for?
Bro, I came from Summerlin, so it was actually 50 minutes. I mean, if I was coming from
50 minutes.
If I was coming from your Royal Highlands like you, like Southern Highlands, it took me 20 minutes.
I thought he was going to Pahrump or something. He's like planning for this. So
10 minutes of that was at White Castle.
I haven't been to Pahrump in a long time.
Yeah. I mean, it's a property that sits on 8 acres. It's at the edge of town. I mean, it's literally nothing out there, man.
So is this time of year, though, slower for you, or is it busier? Or realtors that is it busier or slower for them? Because it seems like it's just nothing's. It's not missing a beat.
It's busy as ever.
Yeah.
I mean, it hasn't slowed down at all.
Yeah.
Hey, do you interact very much with other new agents in your office? Curious.
Like brand new agents?
Yeah.
We don't really have any brand new agents because they're not allowed at a
If you're less than a year, Brett doesn't want nothing to do with
no.
it.
No, I mean our brokerage.
Just
You have to produce a certain amount to be at our brokerage, or if you're brand new like that, you have to be on a team. Or you're
Really?
yeah,
I didn't know that.
So
we just don't take brand new agents, man. They're too much of a handful.
Too much overhead.
Aw, what if they're sharp though?
Then they get on a team and they'll make money.
Yeah.
But you got to get on a team. I mean, and that's actually probably best advice I would give anyone who wants to get into real estate is get on a team.
Well, dude, also
have a mentor.
Let's talk about what happens in our industry. Right now it's typically slower, but you got a lot of Christmas parties, you got a lot of things going on, festivities. So you guys, I know you guys have plans, and I know, Rick, you got some stuff going on with your company. Is this slowing down for you guys? You guys are starting to shift your mindset to 2022. Is this like kind of the starting point for you?
Sure. I agree. No.
I agree, Rick.
Because a lot of people, they want to close out this month.
Wait a second. You have to understand the industry that I'm in, property management. Okay, that's number one. So what do I do at the end of the year? I get ready for doing 1099s. I get ready for doing taxes for all the owners. It's completely different than what Brett goes through in the sales industry. He doesn't have to deal with any of that. So my slowdown is completely different than other types of offices.
Right. What about you? You think are you starting to shift to 2022, or you just?
I'm already putting down.
Do you put a business plan together?
Yeah, I'm putting my business plan together right now.
Do you have goals that you want to get?
Yeah. So between now and probably the middle of January at the very latest, I need to start having them defined and start executing them. So,
what about you, Rich? Do you have like goals and plans that you want for 2022? Like, what do you?
Yeah, but they're not necessarily connected to being a real estate agent.
No, just in general. Do you sit down and you're like, okay, because I think a lot of people are like, it's time to work out. I'm going to put how many people start working out into January? Nobody goes to the gym.
What your real estate goal is not, did I find God? You know?
No, but I have. Well, I did find God. No,
okay, good. me too, a couple times, man.
While I was talking to Jesus, he helped me come up with a business plan. But the way I've looked at it is more like, I've looked at it like if I can bill at least X number of hours every day, that means I can bring in this much money per month. So, like I joined like a business networking group last month. Good. Mike, who we used to have here on the show.
Who's that?
Mike, who we used to have here on the show, the financial planner, Mike Keeler.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, no, I mean he's I've been doing taxes with him for a few years, and he started referring clients to me. I was going to join this other group with him. Like I've got like 3 or 4.
Tip or
yeah, no, it's just you join business networking groups. You get your card out there. You tell people what you do.
You just stirred a little pot.
My thing is like if I could do 3 trusts a month, that'll bring in this much money.
Yeah,
not get that much. So. That's just my thing. It's just
it's like a reset for everybody. We talk about this, and it's like for me, I'm looking at it, going, what do I want to accomplish? What do I want to do? I want to grow the show. I want to grow this. I know this is we're still trying to work through some kinks a little bit here and there, but overall, we want to grow the show. I want to get to 1,000. That's my goal. I want everybody that comes on the show. These are some of my goals. I don't know. To me, I think that everybody's got to have like a reset, and I think that's the time of year right now. People are still buying homes. We're still putting people in properties. We're still refinancing and doing the things, but there's also a shift where people have like an alarm clock and it starts over, right? And that's where we're seeing this in 2 weeks. What about you, Esmeralda? Do you have any goals or New Year's resolution that you want to accomplish?
I don't believe in New Year's resolutions, but I do believe in goals, and I'm very goal oriented. I am.
So what do you want to do different that you didn't do last year or this current year, but in the next year? What do you want to do different? What do you want to see out of yourself?
I just want to do more investments where I'm working smarter, not harder, and making my money work for me in different ways. One of the things I wanted to bring up is that you bought a house, but there was a considering factor of buying the house. Yes. Is you had rentals. If you had no rentals, would you buy the house? I would, because I have other investments as well. Well, but I'm saying, look, let's say you're a person out there that doesn't own anything and you're getting started in life. That's the question. Look, if you got passive income, cool. No problem. I understand why you're buying a house. It's a great investment. But if you're a mom and pop or somebody out there that's a first-time home buyer, you got a family that's getting started, I'm not saying to rent. I'm just saying what pushes people to buy. Your confidence is that you have other assets. Right. What if they have nothing else? That's the question. The American dream. Well, that's where I said they want to buy a house. But that's why I said you have to analyze where you're at financially, right? for me, like, even though I'm a really good saver, I save a lot, even though you might not think that, I really do.
Why would you not think that?
I don't know, because a lot of people think women don't really save that much, but I really do.
Women are the best savers. In my experience.
Save a lot of my money. I'm really wise in what I buy, and I've always been like that. Yeah. So I set myself up in a way that it was a lot of sacrifice to be where I am today, to be able to buy certain things, and I don't buy things that I can't buy cash for.
And
that's how I am too.
Right.
If I can't buy it cash, I don't buy it.
If it doesn't fit that, then I won't buy it because
I don't have money for it. I don't need
no business buying it.
Exactly.
So.
Me too.
I think another big factor right now is control. So, especially with the way rates have increased for tenants, rent has gone up. They're looking at buying a house as being able to control their future. And because once you've got that set payment, that's it. You got your payment set. There's no surprises.
Right.
So I think that's another factor.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and end the show. You guys have anything else to say about what's going on around Las Vegas? Anything exciting? Any news that you guys want to bring up?
Show was a doozy, bro.
It
was it a doozy?
Yeah,
doozy.
It was a doozy.
Doozy good time.
Doozy good time.
Doozy, bro.
Red line, baby. Yeah. Red line. What about you guys? Anything else, Rich?
No, nothing. Not particularly. Not today.
What about Christmas parties? Are you guys going to a lot of them?
I'm not going to my companies.
No? Why?
Brett's too cool.
I'm not. No, I just...
You've been there, done that. And
too cool. Hey, you should show the spirit of...
I'm kind of antisocial outside of work.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just keep to myself and...
Yeah.
Whatever.
Rick, you got anything else to say to the show?
Give us a call.
Call
702-916-2200. Yes, we are doing a Christmas party, and yes, I will be there.
Nice.
Nice.
Stocking stuffer.
What about you, Dan?
Oh, I'm going to be right here in this seat.
No, but I know they
Are you guys having a
company? I know they always do.
Yeah, but I don't typically go to that stuff either,
see?
man. It's not because I'm antisocial. I just don't. It just doesn't do anything for me. It's good to be camaraderie and have that, the people in that you're working with.
I should be more of a team player.
Yeah, I understand.
I'll tell you.
What about you, Esmeralda? You got something going on?
I do have quite a bit of Christmas parties, and I like to support my clients and my friends and people that, because I think that when somebody invites you, I think it's a great gesture, and I think that you should go. Yeah. Because that's a compliment, right? That somebody took the time to invite you somewhere. You should be there.
Yeah,
if you can. I mean, if you can't, you just can't.
They're thinking about you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they didn't have to invite you.
That's true.
All right, guys, that's it. This is Dan French, the French Workbench Podcast. We'll be back here on a Saturday. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you then. If you guys have any questions, any comments, please, put some comments in the comment section. Like the button if you like the content, and also subscribe if you can.